Hi guys, welcome back to Thursday Top Lessons. Hope you've liked the video so far. Please do subscribe to our channel. Today we're going to talk about Robert Kiyosaki's latest book, Fake. It reiterates his belief on investment and understanding money. So money, one of the most critical things that everyone uses in their life, is something that unfortunately no school teaches about. The fundamental of Kiyosaki's investment principle and learning is the poor work for their money and the rich make their money work for them. This investment principle stays true in this one as well. Somehow he makes a case for gold as an investment in this book, but being a true teacher that Robert Kiyosaki is, he is not imposing that it is the only correct answer. So to begin with, one of the most fundamental differences between theory and practice is that the school calls asking for help cheating, whereas the business world calls asking for help cooperation. Business and investing are team sports. You need to ask for help. Also, in school, students are taught that making mistakes makes you stupid, but in real life, making mistakes makes you richer in experience as well as money. Your banker never really asks you about your CGPA or report card. They ask you for your financial statement. It is crucial for everyone to make and understand their own financial statement. And if you're thinking your advisors are going to help you with this, there is a caveat here. Mostly with advisors, magic does not happen because the name of the game financial planning companies play is assets under management and not let's make our client rich. Also makes a case for debt. He says that schools tell us to get out of debt, whereas in real life, debt can actually make you richer. The importance of financial education is that without real financial education, not many people can turn $1 million idea into actual $1 million. That is why most people do not trust startups. But why is money so important? 1,000 years ago, money was not essential for living. Today, money is survival. It is food, shelter, and transportation. People often say that I'm not interested in money, yet for most of those people, money squeezes the life out of their minds, bodies, and souls. Let us understand why he makes a case for gold and silver. First point, he says that gold and silver are not investments. They are insurance, a hedge against stupidity of the Fed and yourself. Second, there is no risk. The value of gold and silver move up and down because the value of our fake currency moves up and down. There is no counterparty risk because the counterparty here is God. You cannot print more gold, whereas you can print more money. Gold is a natural reserve where supply is limited. Third is a spiritual angle to it. Gold and silver attract wealth. Wealth attracts wealth just as poverty attracts poverty. There is a spiritual angle as it is not about how much you accumulate but how you accumulate that. Fourth, he says that he does not trust anything paper. Anything paper is a derivative, a fake, which requires a counterparty to establish its value. The counterparty for printing money would be your RBI or central governments. And this exact system, he says, is broke and broken. The gap is growing and we are on the verge of class warfare. And lastly, it is very easy to understand and acquire gold. Now let us understand why he does not believe in anything paper. First, let's understand the words collateral and security. Cattle were used as collateral in earlier days. A synonym for collateral is security. In 2008, collateral debt obligation or CDOs and mortgage-backed securities or MBS. Understand the emphasis on word collateral and security in both these cases. They failed, leading to a crash because neither of them had collateral nor security. Take notice of the word collateral and securities here. They represent the same purpose as cattle did in earlier days. Imagine if in those times the banker did not know what a real cow was. Yet this is exactly what is happening today. You're basically printing money for the bank when you use your credit card or take a loan, whereas the bank prints money for you when you save. So this fractional reserve lets you print additional money as it lends out from the reserve you kept as saving. This cycle continues on repeating without any solid collateral as 10 coins become 19. So let's just understand this. If you deposit 10 coins, one is kept as a security and 9 are lent further. Then again you have a pool of 19 and so on. This system is known as Mandrake mechanism and is bound to collapse as Mandrake has already pulled out of quadrillion dollars from his hat during the 2008 financial crisis. But if all the savers line up to demand their money back in a crisis, Mandrake can only pull out so many. That means he can only print so much. Mandrake's magic art can only survive if there is inflation. Deflation leads to debt becoming more expensive and leading into depression. To understand this even better, let's look at these charts which compare currencies to gold. So looking at all this, his pessimist side has led him to prepare for the future with 5 G's. Gold and silver, grub, which is food for 6 months, gasoline, ground, which is property both in his city and in further multiple cities, and fifth is guns and ammunition. They are both his protection as well as currency. There's another aspect of spirituality that he brings to the table. He says that prosperity has made many people soft, weak and lazy. Today every child gets a trophy. Everyone is entitled. We have a split screen like mind with the duality of right and wrong, up and down, in and out, good and bad. The problem with this dualistic, ego-driven mind is that it never shuts up. Next level of evolution will require us to turn off our minds, shut up and turn into singularity, which is God. So Westerners, he says, that do not have the time or patience to meditate for 16 hours a day for 20 years in search of entitlement as the Eastern world has. They want it faster and better, and hence they have re-engineered courses on meditation. Asking for help is the first step in healing the pain that all humans feel. In the world of money, you cannot tell if a noun is an asset or a liability without the verbs. The verbs here, example, you can say a house can be an asset or a liability without a verb flow. 6 words that are important for financial IQ are: first, income, expenses, asset, liability, cash and flow. Here's his take on taxes. He says that taxes are patriotic. In real life, the rich don't pay taxes. Look at his ESBI quadrant. On an average across the globe, employees pay up to 40% tax, business owners pay 20% tax, self-employed pays 60%, and investor in all probability pays a 0% tax. So you need to decide for yourself where do you want to be. But being a taxpayer in a capitalist system versus receiving welfare benefits in a socialist system, you need to decide which side you want to be. Tax and tax incentives are the engine of capitalism. The capitalistic component adds a financial component that socialism lacks. It is called financial sustainability. Take an example, housing. In India, people are given tax breaks on home loans. There is a reason why. The reason is that the government wants you to spend on housing more. That is the priority for the government right now. It is important that we take things in our own hands, as most government pension and social security plans are toast. Most of the time, politicians just ignore the problem and try to kick the can down the road for the next administration. Occasionally they try to do something, voters then reject the plan or union sues them. Today, most people are cautious about the food they put into their body. But how many are cautious about the information that they put in their minds? The power of words, I can't afford it versus how can I afford it? I'm not interested in money versus if you're not interested in money, money is not interested in you, is really important. So, the test of first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold 2 opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. The more a person avoids financial risk, the greater the risk they actually take. Risk-averse people fall into 4 categories. First is the worker. The risk averse people will have more jobs. Second is the gambler, they might invest in lottery. Third is the student, they take debt in quasi-religious belief in education. And fourth is the criminal, they start working for cash to avoid taxes. There are four key threats to the world economy right now as per Robert Kiyosaki. The first is rising interest rates. Post-crisis lowering offered cheap debt pushing the world into multiple asset bubbles. Second is China. He says that the debt to GDP ratio in China is the highest. If China crashes, the world crashes. Third is the strong US dollar. US products would be costlier and it will be costlier for countries to repay the US debt. Fourth is pensions, which are heavily underfunded. So to close, I leave you with just one thought to improve your financial education. There are many doors to financial heaven and even more doors to financial hell.